Hi friends, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope your day is going well. As I sometimes say on here, if it's not going well, take some time to quiet down, sit by yourself, close your eyes, and think on those things that are going right, because you can always find something. Jotting just a few things down every day in a gratitude journal is a really great way to get your mind in that positive place, or at least start steering it there, and then you'll find more and more things to be grateful for as the day goes on. But it is makeup time here today. I'm talking about my favorite products for the month of March. I feel like that month just like flew by, and as I was going through some of the things that are my favorites, I thought maybe I could do a full face look with them, which I feel like I enjoy doing whenever possible. You know, being able to talk about something I really like and also show it going on, it just makes sense to me to do it that way. So my skin is already prepped this morning, and I am going to talk about my first two favorites, the Beauty Blender. I mean, huge favorite. This is pretty much the main way I've put on foundation. There's maybe been 1 or 2 days that I haven't used a Beauty Blender lately. I did clean mine very recently, but it doesn't look that way. And my Huda Beauty foundation. This is probably, as I look back over the past month, this has been the foundation that I've enjoyed the most. I talked about this in my recent haul video just as sort of a recap, but I've had this on hand for a while now, and it's the shade Custard 220N Faux Filter Luminous Matte Full Coverage Foundation. And it's just a combination of the shade being great, the finish being great, enjoying the staying power, and just really liking that concept of luminous matte. They don't mean luminous and tacky and sticky and gonna slide off your face, and they don't mean matte by chalky and dry. It's the fusion of the two that really creates a nice surface of the skin. So I'm gonna do nearly a full pump of this, and we'll just dab this around on the skin. It's just the way I like to approach my foundation application. And then we take the trusty Beauty Blender, which you might say, why a Beauty Blender and not just, you know, some other random sponge, maybe even a more affordable sponge? To me, I think there is a real special texture going on with the Beauty Blender. Some sponges, there are many that are really nice and soft, very squishy, and don't get me wrong, can absolutely get the job done. But with the texture of a Beauty Blender, it's almost like a little more porous. And while the texture does become very, very bouncy and stuff, I think my thing is that it doesn't merely smear the product around the skin, but it really like works with the surface of your skin and works it in really effectively. If you love a Beauty Blender and you see it as superior to other sponges, I think like you're feeling me on this somehow, even though I'm not communicating it very well. I feel like if I've just recently self-tanned, this shade is a complete match for me. Here I haven't in the last several days, and it might come off just a hair deeper, but it's all gonna work together by the time the look is through. But I just find myself really enjoying the surface of the skin and feeling like it managed to give me good coverage, but yet it doesn't look super flat. Now I'm just gonna pop on a concealer that I didn't specifically set aside as a favorite, but it's an all-time love for sure. It's my Hydrating Camo Concealer from e.l.f. I have it in the shade Light Peach. It works. Is that the shade? Yeah. You use so many products, you get a little thrown sometimes. I just love the tone of this. I love the coverage of it, the texture. It's just one of those things that's like hitting on all cylinders, you know? And I can use my little Beauty Blender friend here to blend this in and get a really nice, brightened, covered look. And if it doesn't perfectly reach every area, that's okay. I can come in with a brush that will assist me. But look what that does just for any melasma that might be showing up, any darkness. Just a very effective concealer for me. And the texture just wears well on me, you know? And I think even better maybe when I apply with the Beauty Blender, because the Beauty Blender does, you know, whether we want to admit it or not, the Beauty Blender does zap us of a little added product. If there's been a little excess applied to the skin, the Beauty Blender is kind of like an equalizer for that. Will that sometimes lighten the coverage? Sometimes, and with some products more than others. But it just seems to be a real good partner for these products that I'm putting on today. And now just going in with the Sephora Pro Concealer 57 and just reaching those little places that might not get quite as easily reached by the Beauty Blender. Not saying the Beauty Blender can't hit them, but here I feel like I am definitely pinpointing it. Okay, look at that brightness, evenness. Is it all coming together for you yet? I'm feeling it, my friends. A thing that I've been doing a lot in the past month, and it's been completely influenced by David. If you haven't seen the video where my friend David, pro makeup artist, he shared his top 5 products with me and I used them in a video. And one of the top 5 was this little palette from Smashbox. And we used this shade in kind of like a baking manner, you know, dabbed, he said, with a dry beauty blender sponge, dabbed on the under eye area for ultimate brightness, and it is so beautiful that way. Within that cocktail of products, he used a Bobbi Brown corrector and the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind brightener, and it's really like an awesome combo. And I love this, and this reinvigorated my love for this product, but also it kind of, you know, is it law of attraction? It's like you get a picture in your mind of what you like and what you want, and then things that are like that just start showing up, or maybe they've been there in your life before, but they just suddenly become more apparent to you. Or, you know, when you get a new car and then you're suddenly seeing that car all over the road. Okay, this palette from Pure. This is the 4-in-1 Skin Perfecting Powders face palette in the Fair to Light shade. Well, it's got that kind of a color, just like the Smashbox one does, in a matte powder. You've got a matte bronzer, a matte blush, and a beautiful highlight. So this kind of makes me think Smashbox vibes, but even more versatility. You know what I'm saying? So with David in mind, I'm gonna take, what will I use? Maybe I'll use my mini Real Techniques sponge. I think I popped this in the other day and I had it dampened, and it looks substantially bigger than this. But just as is, I'm gonna go into this color, and I'm gonna like set my under eye, basically, with this. I'm gonna dab it on. It's just such a perfect tone. It's very brightening. Today, I'm not really putting on a ton, but it will be something where I dust away some excess in a few minutes, okay? Anywhere you want to brighten. Maybe it's these little smile lines right here. Just pop it on. Okay, love it. Now I'm just gonna move on with this and continue to use the different shades here. I'm gonna use the bronzer, which it's such a good tone. It's such a good tone of bronzer. It's kind of cool, but it's like really deep enough to show. I've been very impressed with this. If you're looking for a great little multitasking face palette that's giving you all the powder steps you really need, get this. And explore the other shade options if you're not of my skin tone, because you got like 3 different avenues to go down there with that. I love that they did that. Just getting that up around my hairline there, a little, but not too much, you know. The best feeling just waking up this morning. Just a feeling of peace. I don't know how to explain. Like, it's always peaceful, like literally, you know, quiet in the house and dark outside. Like, I got that going pretty much every day, but just inside, you know. If you can get those feelings of gratitude running through you upon opening your eyes in the morning, it really makes it harder for the anxieties or the negative to run in, you know? So now I'm just gonna take this little guy, this little brush. There's not a lot of excess around here, but let's just dust around in case there is. But that whole David thing has caused me to experiment with baking again with some different products. I've learned I do really like my Huda Beauty loose powder. It seems to respond really well to that. It's just fun. It's fun to pick up a different technique that maybe you dabbled in a little bit before, but you know, you haven't done in a while, and then you get your eyes open to it again. It's just fun. So continuing here, I'm gonna pop on the blush. This is a beautiful Dusty Rose. Oh, don't we love it? Yes. That is, oh, dynamite. I mean, that's the kind of shade that I'm gonna love every single day. Sometimes you put on a certain blush, it's a little different color than you usually wear, and you can still appreciate it and love it because you know it's blush, but then there's those shades where you're like, I could see myself living in this shade every day of my life, and this is that kind of color. But I do have another blush favorite to share with you. Don't you just love the way that blends into this nice matte skin right now. Like, it's just looking so good. And then we can just bounce that shimmer right where we want it. You have all the shimmer control in this palette with this shade because nothing else is giving it to you, only that. So you will decide precisely where it goes. This is my other favorite, a rediscovered favorite, my Real Techniques setting brush. I've had it since the beginning of Real Techniques. So the end, like the texture that they had on the end of their brushes, it was black, like kind of a matte black, it didn't feel sticky when we all bought these, but it became sticky with washings and use and stuff. And I just got frustrated when I was cleaning it because I felt like I couldn't remove the stickiness or the tackiness. So I just pulled it out and now I continue using this. I thought, will I buy another setting brush? I just use this one, you know? And I'm just loving the way it picks up the highlights, or you could use it like setting the under eye, whatever you want to do. But this highlighter, so gorgeous. Don't we love the way that's catching the light now? Again, we had a lot of matte going on. We really set that under eye. Bronzer and blush were a real absence of shine. And now this, it's just fun to go spotlighting your face wherever you want. So I'm hitting the forehead area too. I'm just basking in it, y'all. Cupid's bow. Heck yeah. Now I'm going to use a little setting mist. I'm going to go for like just the best staying power ever today. So I'm going to use my Catrice HD Active Performance Freezing Spray, which I was claiming in a recent dupes video is basically a dupe for Urban Decay All Nighter. It really performs the same kind of function for me. So I'm happy to report that. And this was a favorite last month too. So I could certainly call it like an all-time favorite status. I didn't specifically set it aside for this video though. Great sprayer too, like one spray puts out a good amount of mist, but not in big droplets, if you know what I mean. A lot of fine mist, that's a good sprayer. So here we go. I'm so happy with the skin. Do you see why these things are favorites? Yes. Oh, the other cheek thing I was gonna mention, which is also a bit of a rediscovery here, is this little e.l.f. It's a bite-sized palette in the shade Watermelon. Again, with the sort of Wear Anytime, Anywhere Dusty Rose shade, but the highlight here, the highlight I might love even more than this blush. Like, it's so pearly and brightening, and you might not think it would be because it just looks like light peach in the pan, right? And you're thinking, how does that translate to beautiful highlight? Well, maybe you can tell by the swatch, like it's just dewy, it's beautiful, and it has no big flecks or particles or anything obnoxious going on there, and that's just a great little blush highlight duo that I've used again and again this past month. For brows, I don't have a specific brow favorite, so I'll just use this Brow Power, which I was inspired to start using because of Mom. I tell you, I love doing these top 5 videos because they bring so many different things to light. You know, when you think about someone who you love and respect and the fact that they love the product or the method or the whatever we're talking about, it just makes you see it through different eyes now. You appreciate these things more that maybe you overlooked in the past. But I wear this in the shade Universal Dark Brunette. It's kind of a little bitty oval shape, not as teensy, you know, as your products from ABH like Brow Wiz. But I can fill in real quick and really love the result with this thing. And then you do have that spoolie on the other end to help it on through. Feeling the look today, guys. I'm feeling it. So I'm trying to eat lower carb overall, with the exception of maybe a couple meals, maybe a splurge or two on the weekends, but like overall I'm trying to make less deeply carby choices with my meals. And I had seen something, I think I found out about it on TikTok. It's called Cut de Carb, Cut D-A-de carb. And it's these like flatbreads. They're just super thin. I think it's like 80 calories for a whole one, and they're big, like big rectangles, and you can just cut them and maybe use half as a reasonable size to like wrap something up, you know, or if you want to make your own pizza like in your toaster oven or something, you use the whole thing, whatever. They're really good, and they're great about crisping up. Okay, so you can easily make your own chips out of them. You just cut them up, throw them in your toaster oven or your air fryer oven, of course, and they crisp up so beautifully. And it scratches my itch for chips and for just the crunch that I need out of fried food. Like, I mean, I'm the type of gal who would love an appetizer sampler anytime, any day of the week, you know? Like, I love that texture flavor combo in food. So this helps. I haven't tried like making my own mozzarella sticks with these, but I mean, I've seen it all demoed on the brand's TikTok. And so again, this was something I ordered. I ordered like 2 packs of them. They tell you to keep half in the freezer, and then your pack that you're actively using from, keep that in your fridge. And they're really good. Not sponsored, just a genuine find, which is everything on my channel, which, can I just say for a moment, I freaking love that. I've had so many moments lately where I've seen either something come through my email that was a ridiculous sponsorship opportunity, or seeing other people doing it, and I'm just like, what's the cost inside of getting to be in complete control over your content and what you feature? I'll tell you, it's a very peaceful feeling, and I just love that this channel stays the space that is authentically for the viewer, not being steered by a brand. I love it. Man, we just really got off straight from low-carb flatbreads straight into sponsorships. And listen, that's not me saying everybody who does sponsorships is wrong and bad. No, I'm saying it doesn't feel like the right thing for me, for y'all. For this specific corner of the YouTube space, I want to offer the sponsorship free zone. That was the Wet n Wild Brow Sessive setting gel, by the way. But I want to create that space. Sorry, I should always shout you out, Milani. I appreciate you. I love you, Milani Eyeshadow Primer. But just that space where we can all kind of kick back, relax, and don't have to wonder if the reason why I said something was motivated by money. And yes, I get it. You don't make a lot of friends with YouTubers by saying stuff like that. That's not really what I'm out to do. I'm out here to be a place for my audience that feels good and feels like home and feels comfortable and safe and secure. That's what I want to be. That doesn't have to be what everyone else wants to be. For the eyes, I feel like I have been bouncing around a ton. I have been maybe not so good at taking like daily pictures of my looks on Instagram to prove this to you or show you this, but I've been going back into drawers, pulling out older palettes, like rediscovering stuff left and right. But if there's been anything that has been kind of approached repeatedly, it's been this Lorac Meraki palette. So I'm not really saying, this is my big favorite, but this is kind of what I've been studying alongside Noir and Soleil, Lorac's other 2 newer palettes, and sort of trying to figure out if Meraki is kind of like the best of both worlds out of those palettes, the cool and some warm. That's what I'm feeling like anyway. I think it's a very nice palette, and I have been really enjoying it. There's some beautiful textures in there. There are some shimmers, and then there are some shammers, like some real like coming at you with a lot of glow and shine, and it's just fun. I mean, it might not look like a ton of fun. It's very neutral, but I like it. I'm gonna go to this shade right here. This kind of dusty lilac. What time is it? Oh, okay. And I'd just love to hear what you think about, you know, Lorac's new palettes that have come out. They also all come with a little tool that can pop out the shades. So like, look what happens here. The whole palette comes down, and you got these little holes where you can use that tool, poke them through, and kind of redesign the palette, so to speak. So that's kind of cool. I haven't done that here. I've just gone with the way she was made, so as not to maybe confuse those of you who have it and are wondering like, what shade is that? Because they don't have shade names. That bugs me a little bit. Like, remember how everything was so clearly named in like the Lorac Pro 1? It was like gold was gold, or you know what I mean? It was just, they weren't flashy names, but they were names everybody could like know and remember, and now we have no names. Just anonymous shadows. So I've got a very soft thing going on here with this cool dusty lilac. I might try a little bit of this shade, deep with a little shimmer and a little bit of plum. I don't think I've tried putting this in the crease yet, so we'll just see what happens. How does it buff out? It's doing all right. The other day we were going out for an afternoon walk, and the area where we walk is really not very far from our house. Kind of goes around a pond, and we go usually after nap time. If Mom's here, she goes with us too. So I got Bubba in the stroller, and Belle and Eve are walking, and I do keep their little kid umbrellas in the bottom part of the stroller, and one adult-sized umbrella as well. And we were in a situation where I knew it was going to rain pretty soon because we could see the dark clouds off to the west, but we thought, you know, given the proximity to home, it wouldn't be a big deal and we were probably going to make it before it really started raining. Well, we started to just feel a few raindrops as we were kind of at our furthest point away. And it got windy and it was just like spitting rain, not like a heavy rain at that point, but everybody's rushing to get their umbrellas out and Mom's taking mine, and at one point she's trying to like hold it over me too. I'm like, no Mom, just take it, and like blows back. It was like such a dramatic but funny situation. I think I captured one picture of the chaos. It was fun. But it's like, those are the walks, those are the times that you remember. Pleasant sunny day walks can kind of be like a dime a dozen, but it's those walks where you just got caught in the rain and everybody's freaking out and laughing their heads off. It's fun. It also gave Biddy reason to recite her and my favorite line from Wizard of Oz.
Undercover Sylvester, there's a storm blowing up a whopper.
Okay, so I've just kept using this shade, the kind of like plummy dark, like it's the murkiest plum ever, but just kind of patting a little bit of that out here. I do love the texture of Lorax eyeshadows. Love, love, love it. I'm gonna just keep this look real soft. Like, I don't know, I've got this like light thing that I'm wearing over my outfit. It feels very delicate and flowy. Let's go to the shade right next to it. Ooh, that's pretty. It's got a little rosiness in it. So let's take some of that and invite that right onto the center of the lid. But I do like that you got full-on black and dark brown in here, and burgundy. So like, look at this bottom row. It's like every way you might need to anchor a neutral look is pretty much there. So I like this palette a lot. Is it a favorite? You know, I'm not really calling it such because, again, I'm in the process with this one. You guys understand that. Sorry, didn't really narrate that. Taking the pearly white. I mean, look at how brightening those shimmers are. Just easy to use. But like, in terms of the shine level on some of these shimmers, by the way, it's kind of like matte, matte, matte. But the shimmers aren't really clear-cut. It's like shimmer, shimmer, shimmer. But this shade right here, look. I mean, is that like liquid metal or something? It's so shiny. So I'm actually gonna leave this here as sort of this light, delicate, you know, kind of cool sort of look on the eyes today. I'm gonna leave it at that. I am gonna apply my all-time fave, always a fave, ABH Brow Double-Ended Highlighter Pencil. But I really feel like it clings well to the waterline, so that's why you always see me putting it there. Let's take a little pencil liner across the upper lash line. This is NARS Last Frontier High Pigment Longwear Liner. I'm really trying to not always grab for liquid liner all the time, just to switch it up, use what I got. This is not really a favorite, it's just something I'm using. It works nice though, very nicely. And then the nice thing about pencils is before they're totally set, you can just kind of graze your finger over it and soften it just a bit. There's an advantage. Oh my gosh, guys, I can't believe I may have breastfed Bubba for the last time last night. Not just last night, the night before. And last night was the first night where we didn't do that and he went to bed just fine. And I decided it was time. He's like almost 18 months old and we had gotten down to just that last feeding before bedtime. And this is risky. Why did I just start talking about this after doing my eye look? I'm not gonna cry. It's a turning point in the childhood, you know, like that was happening for, I mean, Bella's 6 years old. There were small gaps where a kid wasn't being breastfed, but it's been happening so much over the past 6 years. And, you know, I look back on that journey and how I struggled at first, then it came around and it becomes so second nature by the time you're ready to wean. It's like, I think I could do this forever actually. But it was just getting to the point where, you see, his main source of milk is now like whole milk from a sippy cup. And I feel like it flows easier from that for him. And then when it comes time to nurse, although that's always been, you know, like a comfort type of thing, like a psychological thing probably that is a benefit, he wasn't getting the milk as easy as he was the other way. And he was just kind of like, plus, you know, we got upper, lower teeth. You know what goes in the middle. And I could just sense like a frustration, like kind of almost a little more bitey way of going about it. Like, not really getting what I want here exactly. Not as easy of a flow for me as it is coming from the cup. And I could sense that. I could sense that. I didn't like the thought that right before he was going to bed, he was having this sort of like frustration in feeding. And I just noticed that really happening over the past couple of weeks. But yeah, now here we are, and that chapter has closed. It's a bittersweet feeling because you do feel like, yes, and my body is mine again, fully mine. That feels good. But at the same time, it's just, it takes some getting used to. I'm using my Mally Lift and Curl Mascara. Absolutely love this mascara. Love, love, love it. Big rubber bristle brush. Not maybe my favorite brush in the world, but my goodness, this is a nice mascara. Great formula for me. Again, I didn't specifically set this out as a favorite, but it's just a solid, loved mascara. But just in conclusion of the breastfeeding talk, like, I fully support the fact that it's everyone's own journey. Some people will feel like breastfeeding for however many more years, you know, past the point I have. Or some people will just want to do it a couple months, or maybe not even start doing it at all. And it's totally like a very personal thing that I don't think anybody should push on anybody else. But I think we as mothers, one thing we can tell if we have been breastfeeding is we can usually tell when the time is about up on it, you know? It just doesn't have the same ease that you had for most of the time you were doing it. And in life in general, I'm really just trying not to fight against the signs that I get, you know? Talk about going with the flow. Taking the signs and messages you're receiving, going with it. Okay, so there's that mascara on. I think that's looking so pretty. I'm really thinking about putting a lash on. What time we at? We got always time for a little lash. Because they are kind of a favorite. Again, I think they may have been a favorite last month, but the So Real style of these Kiss My Lash Bit Better, or is it called Your Lash Bit Better? My Lash Bit Better. I actually wore a different style the other day when I was doing the haul video. I tried out a different one that I didn't like nearly as much. The quality of the lash was still fine and everything, but the look was just much more subtle and not quite as satisfying as these. I love these lashes. These are my absolute favorite kind of lash that I could wear. So in the interest of speed and time, I'm gonna pop them on and I'll be right back. Hey gang, we're back. I got the lashes on. Love the look. I had a real vision for some reason for this look to be very much above the eye and just lifted and bright and not really a lot going on beneath. So there's nothing going on there. I kind of like it. Another favorite that I want to mention here are the balm.coms brought to my attention by my sister, Pup. I've got the berrybalm.com and the cherrybalm.com. Both of these have beautiful tints to them. They feel amazing on the lips. Like, there's a thickness that really feels like a moisturizing treatment, and you might have it in your head. What if it's just running, slopping outside the lips and getting messy? It won't do that, okay? It will really like kind of cling on there. And the colors are so beautiful. The tints of these will blow your mind, and the scents, tints and scents, amazing. They will take you back to some of the different lip balms you had when you were like in high school, scent-wise. And then the other lip thing that I just can't get enough of are these NARS tinted lip balms, soft matte tinted lip balms. I'm going to throw on several different shades for you just to see. I've got kind of like light, medium, and dark. I like this soft pinky shade called Unrestricted. They are smooth and creamy, but they're matte. And even on my lips, it's like you've got the little secret of knowing, it's comfortable, it feels buttery and smooth, but it's matte to everyone else, okay? Love that shade. That's Unrestricted. I don't have a Kleenex, so I'm gonna have to cotton pad it. Then we've got the shade called Whiplash. So this is kind of toasty. There's a little rosiness in it, but also some brown. Ooh, don't we love that? I adore that shade. Oh my gosh, it's kind of a little bit of a fall vibe shade, but really honestly anytime too. I love that. The eyes come alive when you get a little depth on the lips, I tell you. And then my other one here is called Touch Me. Very deep. Soft, pillowy, comfortable matte lips out of this sort of low maintenance feeling balm. Like, my gosh, and there's even more shades yet, but these are kind of like my top picks. I love it. I love the look. Thank you guys so much for watching. Top faves, again, we've got the Huda foundation with the Beauty Blender. Loving this Pure palette. Those might be like my big three that I'm loving, but you heard what else I mentioned. You were here, you heard everything, okay? Do we need more blush? Maybe just a hint more after we got this kind of semi-vampy lip color. Just a little more color right up in here. I'm team don't ignore the apples of your cheeks because that's the part of your face that's greeting the world. Yes. Okay guys, thank you so much for your time, for your beautiful energy that you bring to my YouTube channel. I appreciate it so, so much. I love you and I'll see you soon. Bye.